Detectives realize the victim is actually the killer, which, spoiler alert.
I got him. You got him. You stay out here, bro. Y'all keep him out here. Yeah, see the body. See that? Yeah.
I think they're locking your butt up, what I think. I think you've been lying to me this whole time. You did get them right. I think you're a liar, what I think.
Definitely did.
He said, dadgum.
You got the freaking box. You got the dead gun.
Man, I'm telling you, all I know is the guy told me that they were suspects in a murder case. The first thing that popped in my head was that gun. And I don't know what the is going on, but I want to know.
You hear a backwater cop say dadgum, you already know we're in it. We're in the thick of it, okay? You say dadgum, automatically just you're getting executed. No, he said dadgum. Like that to me, one of the most goated things you can fucking say. This man is the genuine, iconic, Southern dad. Okay.
This is Samantha Wolford, a young mother, a wife, and an aspiring YouTuber turned ruthless killer.
Hey guys, I was asked to do a video 15 weird things about me.
She has arrived at the sheriff's office for routine questioning after her husband was kidnapped during an alleged home invasion. It was an unthinkably sadistic plot. The abduction of a young father and a futile race against the clock to find him before it was too late.
This narrator, out of all of the murder narrators, is one of my favorite narrators, I think. Sometimes, if they don't get the energy right, though, it does come across like a Super Bowl commercial. But like in other instances, like this one, it seems like it sets the tone very well.
Find approximately 6 years. Samantha, a single mother of 10-month-old twin girls, was just 19 years old when she met 23-year-old Ernie Ibarra Jr., who was known to friends as Dagan. The two began a relationship which soon turned to marriage, and eventually the couple had 3 children together. Although they were doing their best to get by in the small town of Mount Pleasant, located in Titus County, Texas, the relationship was already starting to crumble. It was no secret that the couple had their problems. However, it ended up escalating to a point of no return, and no one had anticipated things would end in such a shockingly tragic way.
Titus County 911, what's your emergency?
I have a home invasion. My niece is tied up. I am at the verge of untying my niece at this particular moment.
Okay, she's tied up.
She is tied up and gagged.
And gagged? Is that what you said? Ma'am. Is there anybody else?
Here's the thing, like I feel like home invasions in Titus County, Texas, like how many of them are gonna be real? You know what I mean? Like why the fuck would there be any real home invasions in Titus County? Home invasions, you know how they happen? They happen if you're like in college and you're selling drugs out of your house. You know what I mean? Like that's one of the few instances where you could actually have a home invasion. You know what I mean? What do you mean, dude? Literally half the houses in my street have been broken into at some point. Okay, listen to me. There's a difference between like a regular robbery and a home invasion. A regular robbery, when the people are not inside the house, when you scope out the scene, when you basically case a house and see if there's no one inside, and then break in and steal a couple shit that you can get your hands on, is very different than a home invasion. That's why it's called a burglary. A home invasion, on the other hand, is like very specific. You break into a house, there are people in the house. You like sit them down with a gun and, fucking tie them up and shit like that.
Where are the kids? We have 5 small infants asleep.
5 small infants asleep?
Yes, ranging from 7 to 1.
7 to 1 years old?
Yes, ma'am.
Does she know,
Samantha, did you know who the suspects are?
Can I talk to her? Is she able to speak?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Hi, Samantha. I know you're upset, but I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Do you need EMS?
Like, what the fuck are they home invading here?
No, they didn't do anything to be baby wife.
She's advising no.
Like, unless this is like a trap house where they have a fuckload of cash lying around somewhere, not even a fuckload, but at least enough for it to justify like a violent crime with a very specific prison sentence. They're not gonna burglarize a house like this.
Okay. I just asked my aunt if it was bruising or anything, and she said no. They hit me in the face. He looked at me then, and they said, "I thought that would get your attention, and I want you to stare at this woman. Do you want us to kill her?" And he said no. And they said to tell us the truth. And he said, I don't know anything.
When someone gives way too many details on a 911 call, this can be a warning sign that they may not be telling the truth. The purpose of a 911 call is to get help immediately. As Samantha is not currently in danger anymore, her primary focus should be on getting help finding her husband. Instead of requesting that officers be sent right away to search for him, she's telling an elaborate story about what supposedly happened. Samantha's love for acting isn't a secret after all.
I've always wanted to be an actress. I think it is so much fun. I've been extras in movies. I've had small parts in like short films, and I've done plays.
Members of the Titus County Sheriff's Office respond to the crime scene shortly after 2 a.m. Immediately, an investigation into the violent home invasion and kidnapping of Ernie Ibarra Jr. is launched.
Sheriff's office.
I'm upstairs. I'm sorry, sir.
Are you still talking with Sheriff?
They told me that I have to stay.
Tell her you're here.
I did.
She still puts you
She
on
said
hot
she still has a few questions for me before I can get off.
Let me have it and I'll take care of it and you talk to them.
Walk me through what happened.
I don't honestly know what happened. I was in sleep and we heard a noise, and the second I was able to open my eyes, somebody grabbed me and jerked me out of the bed and slammed me down on the ground and started tying me up and put a knife to my throat and told me don't move.
The officer is conducting a typical investigatory field interview at this point. However, these statements can be admissible in legal proceedings. The body camera footage can be reviewed by investigators and inconsistencies discovered between initial contact and later interrogation.
One of them did say the name Luke, but that's it. That was all. That's only in identifying anything I've got.
It's discovered that Dagan's phone was also taken by the assailants.
They took his phone, but they didn't take mine. I had mine hidden. So I was able to.
So he's got his phone?
They have his phone.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. What's his phone number? Huh? Well, I need that number. Get that number from me. Yeah, I've got the front door's been kicked in.
As he did.
This does ring some alarm bells with respect to how many of the details she's just like retelling. She's crying, but she's also she has like so much clarity on exactly everything that happened. It is certainly a red flag.
Dictates details of the crime scene to dispatch. Samantha handles her own urgent business. She sends out a text message that reads as follows. The phone service company is immediately contacted in hopes that the position of Dagan's phone can be traced and lead law enforcement to his location before it's too late.
Was the spray paint already on the walls?
Yeah, somebody broke in over Christmas time, or over Halloween time, and did that. And he's already been out here once over this.
Okay.
They cut his hair off. I don't know why.
Is that
his hair?
That's his hair?
Yeah,
What?
his hair.
Okay.
0.86 miles from a residence in Pittsburgh.
You know anybody in Pittsburgh?
15.
Samantha does, in fact, know someone in Pittsburgh, as it just so happens. As the deputy continues to gather information from Samantha, the corporal speaks with Samantha's mother, Rosie, and Samantha's Aunt Ginger.
Sir. How you doing?
Just fine.
You're the one that found her?
Yes, she's the one that found her. I'm the one she called.
Okay. So she called you first?
She called me.
Okay.
Bound and gagged, and then she called me. We live in Winfield.
Do we have any idea where her husband is?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
I'm assuming it has something to do with people that would be part of his circle. It's the only thing I could possibly put together is that it had something to do with people that.
Samantha says that the intruders named someone she knows as the reason for the attack on her husband. For this person's privacy, as they were never proven to be involved in the case, we have redacted their name.
We're gonna put a quick pause on here. One, I have an announcement. If someone who is watching this with us currently, Titus County, Texas, who said that they would want to come on to react, and two, I forgot to actually promote. That person's name is Valkyrie. Hello?
Hello.
Are you gonna do cam on?
Heck no.
Wait, why not?
Because I'm not ready.
Oh, okay.
Samantha sends out yet another urgent text message at 3:19 a.m. reading. At this time, investigator Chris Bragg arrives at the scene and the corporal begins to bring him up to speed. Interestingly, the investigator is immediately skeptical.
So they've got a pretty volatile past, and we've arrested him before.
Yeah.
Assaulting her and the infant. Make sure she didn't do something to him and then stage the scene to make it look like something happened.
The investigator is developing what's called a theory of the case. This is the same theory of the case work that a prosecutor will do in order to paint a picture of the criminal activity, linking physical evidence, statements, and circumstantial evidence to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Wild to me that in the year 2015 of our holy Lord, okay, you fantasized about like a crime scene that you elaborately crafted like this, but you didn't think about the phone towers pinging.
Yeah, that's insane. I feel like that's the biggest rookie mistake.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Like you cut his fucking hair and shit, and you didn't even think about, and you didn't think about that part. Like that's the first thing you're supposed to do. He's a rookie. He's a rookie.
Pitiful condition.
Yeah.
I'm not really seeing a whole lot of blood, though, for somebody that was pistol whipped.
The investigator proposes they have Samantha come upstairs to provide more specifics.
I haven't seen or anything. All of that, I don't know what's going on with or what, but they kept saying, cause this.
Oh my God, she's the worst.
Asking for compensation, $20,000.
Remember this. It'll be important later on in the story.
If you would just hold tight with her, so I'm gonna go get some evidence bags and I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab my camera, I'll be right back.
Are you guys trying to accuse me of something?
What?
Her story immediately falls apart here, though Samantha's reaction is typical of someone caught in a lie.
What the fuck?
However, this is why all subjects under questioning should request counsel and...
Sir, do you think I did the murder? Because it seems like you think I did the murder. He's like, what? No, where'd that fucking come from? Dadgummit, I never said that.
Police motives are not frequently known, though it's common to start with a large pool of suspects and eliminate them, rather than start with an empty pool and try to add likely suspects. This means you're immediately classified as a suspect or material witness until proven otherwise during the investigation phase.
What time did y'all go to bed last night?
Around 11.
Just a couple hours before the invasion occurred. Next time, she'll have a different answer to the question. At 6:10 a.m., just a few short hours after the violent home invasion and abduction of Samantha Wolford's husband, Dagan, she arrives at the Titus County Sheriff's Office in northeastern Texas. It's here that the disturbing story will start to unfold. Samantha places a call to her mother, but displays almost no emotion during the course of the conversation. She appears very self-centered, and her behavior is quite strange for a woman whose husband is missing.
I would like something to something to this. I think it's something to do with.
What do you think would be going on?
I hate, and I'm usually right, and I hate that, but he has a problem with getting involved in things that he don't need to be getting involved with.
Samantha seems to be setting up a potential motive as to why the attack and kidnapping may have occurred. She continually brings up the same person in her speculations about what may have happened.
Has he been using any drugs?
No.
What about you?
No. And I can take a test right now.
This is a convincing statement, which can be a red flag for possible deception. When someone is being truthful, they're more likely to just provide a straightforward denial. However, when someone is lying, they often feel some anxiety about whether they will be believed or not, so they may add on these types of convincing statements to support their lie. It's interesting that Samantha states she's never been a drug user. However, David Smith, a former friend of both Dagan and Samantha, alleges otherwise.
Because there was one that come out there that drove a little silver Jeep Liberty. He was supposed to be some kin to her, supposedly. But I found out later from Jeremy Rule that he was her pill dealer.
Needless to say, Samantha's credibility has become...
A lot of middle America moms do this, but like they don't even consider it to be drugs, in my opinion. Like, yeah, it's just like, and in many instances, it's just because like they don't have access to like prescription drugs in that same way that like wine moms in Martha's Vineyard have. You know what I mean?
Did they say what pills it was?
No, but I'm assuming like oxys or some shit, probably.
You heard about what time it was when you went to bed?
I looked up at the clock and it was like 12:01 and I was like, yeah, you've got to get to bed because you have to be up in 5.5 hours.
Sure.
Samantha says she and Dagan went to bed at midnight, contrary to the 11 o'clock time she gave a responding officer at the scene of the crime, as you may recall.
That's when they started cutting my clothes off and making me stand in front of him naked.
This part of the story seems to be fabricated. The sweater she claimed to have been wearing had no obvious cuts.
She didn't recognize the voice or nothing about it.
I tried listening to everything. They forced him to tell me not to call the police.
Typical YouTube actor, by the way. Not you, Ray. You're a great actor.
The investigator now shifts the
Average
conversation
Texan
to a
woman.
different aspect of routine investigation. It could very well be that this is where things start moving in an undesirable direction for Samantha.
Like I said, you two weren't fussing, you weren't fighting, didn't get out of hand, you didn't punch him, kick him, stab him, shoot him, nothing like that. I'm not going to find out anything any different later once we get there, because the deputies, they're out there right now, basically searching your house from top to bottom for every piece of physical evidence that we can find to
Anything that'll help them find him.
It could be a red flag that there appears to be a verbal and nonverbal disconnect here. She's shaking her head no while giving her permission for detectives to search her house. Partway through this statement, she switches to nodding her head yes, possibly realizing that she made a mistake.
Well, actually, say that's why I want to make sure, because we're going to be checking your phone records, your family's phone records.
Normally, when the police want to search something, the Fourth Amendment requires them to obtain a search warrant. Otherwise, the search is unconstitutional, and the evidence they obtain will be tossed out of court. However, the police can obtain certain types of records without a search warrant. For example, the police could get a suspect's call records from their phone company. Normally, this record will only show the police what numbers a person called and at what time.
I need to know the truth. I have to absolutely know the truth, that you had no possible involvement in this whatsoever.
No.
You love her?
I didn't. I wouldn't have gone back if I didn't.
What all were you willing to do to help me find him?
Whatever it takes.
You don't know where he is?
No, I don't.
Cap.
I wish I did.
You're positive?
I'm positive.
You have absolutely no idea where he's at.
No, I don't.
Do you know who we can call to find where he's at?
The only one I can think is because they kept bringing him up.
Dude. Oh my God, she keeps bringing redacted up so much. Holy shit. It's like, it's definitely redacted. It's definitely redacted. I'm telling you now. I mean, it seems to me like it's redacted, officers. Maybe, you should go after this redacted person, Seems to me like they're at fault here. Clearly.
That could just be his name.
Was that an accent?
Yes. Redacted.
What the fuck? That came out of nowhere. Okay.
Also like to commend you for your lack of pausing.
Okay, well, I've been pausing.
You've improved.
The investigator exits the room and leaves Samantha to her list. A few minutes later, Sheriff Tim Ingram enters the room and tries his hand at getting to the truth with Samantha.
And this is why that it's very important, hon, that we want you to be honest, because I'm going to tell you what, the evidence we found on the scene, it's just not matching. I don't think you harmed this boy, but I think you know who did, because if somebody's going to kidnap him, why is there his blood in y'all's pickup? Kidnappers ain't going to use their pickup to do something with him and then put him out there and put him in the truck and haul him back.
In his pickup, his blood?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, somebody, it's apparent to me that somebody used his truck.
When someone is feeling especially anxious, their mouth and throat may become
Is that a thing? Like,
yeah, it's a thing.
I feel like a lot of the body movement stuff is not like an exact science. It's just they just kind of the body language shit is like.
Wait, really? Because when you're nervous and stuff, your hands will get clammy. Yeah, that's a reaction. I feel like if you're, really stressed,
it's definitely
your throat probably dries
it's definitely pseudoscientific because it's like, okay, as much as I love this kind of stuff, as much as I love reacting to this kind of stuff, the reality is that in many circumstances, cops absolutely utilize pseudoscience to justify convictions, and they just use it as like additional evidence when in fact, like it's never. Everything beyond DNA is often filled to the brim with a whole bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes, like, for example, people laugh when they're coping. Sometimes people deal with things differently. So it is difficult to assume that someone's body language means something for sure.
I mean, she's definitely guilty as sin. But what ends up helping in a lot of these circumstances is just conflicting testimony and like hard evidence in the form of like CCTV footage, phone, like your phone pinging, DNA, or at least like DNA evidence nowadays. Like all that stuff is basically the real deal. The other shit's usually just like, in most circumstances, the other stuff is just like a way to beef up your argument,
which can lead to increased throat clearing, swallowing, or coughing. If any of these behaviors start or increase suddenly, it can be a sign to detectives that they're on the right track and need to question the suspect further.
I told him that they got into his truck because they wanted his ID.
I think you're scared. I don't know if you had a boyfriend that he found out about.
The investigator is attempting to establish the existence of accomplices, and from there, the existence of one or more conspiracies.
I didn't have a boyfriend.
Okay. I don't know what the deal is, but Sam, you've got your kids in the same room.
It's telling that Samantha says she's being as honest as she can. This may be another convincing statement. It sounds reasonable, but someone who's telling the entire truth likely wouldn't feel the need to make claims about being an honest person. In addition, Samantha's statement here may have some level of truth to it. She's being as honest as she can be without incriminating herself.
There's just the whole layout of your house and the way you said they took him. It's just not making sense.
The interrogator is doing a good job of appearing neutral. Despite the evidence pointing to Samantha being dishonest with him, he makes it out as if he is on her side. The more she trusts the detective, the more likely she will be to confess.
I will be the first person to come forward because I want it found.
So let me ask you something. How did you call for help if you was tied up?
I used my nose.
So they didn't take your phone in. They left your phone there.
They asked me if I had a phone, and I told them no. And they asked him,
so how'd you get to it?
I wiggled on my side.
Where was it? Where was
I was on this side of the upstairs, and it was shoved up underneath the edge of the bed on this side of the upstairs.
Who did you call?
My mother was the first number on my call list. I just used my face. And
so instead of calling 911 for help, you called your mother?
How do you press 911 with your face?
Well, how did you dial your mother with your face?
I didn't dial my mother. I just pushed the first thing that was on there. It had just happened to be my mom.
Although Samantha may believe this is a reasonable explanation, you'll encounter another witness who will tell the sheriff's office that they observed Samantha with her phone simply laying on her lap in the aftermath of the attack. Next, the sheriff wants to hear about what's been going on in Samantha's personal life.
Well, now see, here's something else I don't understand. Maybe you can help explain to me. You talked about how much you love Ernie, right?
Mm-hmm.
But though you're talking to Brian, you're talking to Alan.
Oh, damn.
I have friends because I'm.
Oh my God. Okay, this actually does make sense as to why the cops are so skeptical of her, because they basically see her as like they just see her as like a bad woman, a harlot. You know what I mean?
Oh no.
A Jezebel.
No, not that kind of friend. When people like you, no. Do you think that's normal for married people to?
In the world nowadays, in general, I think more people our age. I wish I could marry somebody like my dad. He's great to my mother. There's nobody else ever that could turn his eyes from her. He's the perfect husband.
Okay.
God knows I didn't marry one. He cheated on
shit.
me.
Oh, that's a double. That's a throw right there.
Yeah,
that's a throw. You just gave the motive. She literally went from being in like the cops are suspecting that she is, indecent and perhaps a harlot, if I do say so myself, maybe a Jezebel. And then she fucking turned around and was like, no, actually my husband is cheating on me. He sucks.
In October, things blew up. He laid his hands on me. I put criminal trespass on him, not on his sister, because she was acting crazy and harassing me. My friend David Smith had talked to me earlier, said he might come by later that night. I told him it was probably not the best idea. Why? Ernie going to be there?
Who's this David Smith?
He called in and reported that he was there. Then when he realized that I intended on giving him the chance to be the better person he says he's going to be, and to go through the criminal trespass or the anger management courses and go through and do what he says he's going to do, and I'm going to give him that chance out of home on his own without having a judge to force him to do it.
So Ernie's got a lot of anger issues.
Yes,
is he jealous?
severe. Yes.
Is he very jealous of you?
This is different than what she said earlier about how Ernie told her she could do whatever with whomever, as long as it wasn't at their house.
You know what he's called? We're in a polycule, officer. Mr. Detective, sir. Yeah, that's right. I like to put on a fursuit sometimes. Get wild with it. You didn't see it in the house, but I got one of them fursuits.
There is one other way that we can make absolutely sure and clear you. We can give you a polygraph test.
Would you mind me speaking to my...
First of all, a polygraph test? Dude, Texas is so barbaric. I swear to God. That shit is so dumb. I can't believe cops still use that. It's insane, okay?
My mother before I completely agreed to that.
Well, but now if you have nothing to hide, why would you want to talk to your mama?
Because it's nothing against you personally, but just cops in general. You hear such negative things and how they are not out to help you, and CPS is the same way. And I just kind of want to get my mom and dad's opinion on if it's in my best interest.
You know what I think? I think it's not going to be long. I think they're locking your butt up, what I think. I think you've been lying to me this whole thing. You did get them right.
Wow, dadgum. He's a dadgum guy, and he said but you know he's pissed.
And I think you're a liar. What I think you know exactly who did this. Not about your freaking story for a minute. That's what I think.
Your freaking
So I tell
story.
you what, let's do. Let's just get on with it.
The only other thing I know, I don't even know. I know,
Okay.
but it's a suspicion.
Okay.
I've been up at the hospital with my friend Charlotte.
Okay.
And she's got a guy there, and I swear to God, I cannot go up there that I said any of this.
Okay.
Because they have a lot of friends around here, and my life will be in a lot of danger. But the only other thing I know about problems, like I just told you, I have a problem with talking to my friends about our problems.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have many of them. So when I do get with one of my
He does
friends,
not.
I will talk about
Okay.
He does not give a
It
fuck.
hasn't been many. We have
Like,
had
sure,
problems
lady.
that I haven't seen
All
Charlotte
right,
in a long
okay.
time.
Okay. Go with it.
And she's got this guy in the room with her, and he gets
That's fucked up.
talking about how a man shouldn't treat a woman that way, and how you don't do those things to a person, and he's gonna deal with the situation. I didn't take him seriously.
Okay. You see, Sam, you know who did this, but that does not make
But I
you
don't
guilty.
have any
Still.
proof that he did. I just have what he said.
Okay. Who is this guy?
His name's John.
John who?
His Facebook is Rebel, John Rebel. It's John, I don't truly know his last name, but his Facebook says John Rebel.
At this point, it seems Samantha's crying could be attributed to the fact that her story isn't yielding the results she'd hoped for, rather than because Dagan is missing. This behavior is consistent with her narcissistic tendencies. At this time, Samantha first mentions an acquaintance known as John Rebel. Herein begins a turning point in this complex story, as a new persona begins to evolve.
He's got a brother named Greg. He's got a really bad history as far as...
Who's Greg?
I was told he's an informant.
What?
I don't know Greg's last name
Where
either.
does John live?
I don't know. I know that he's been staying with Charlotte.
So if he did this, who do you think he'd bring with him?
Me.
I don't know any of his friends. But yesterday at the hospital, he had a guy that I do know from town with him. His name is Tay.
So many dudes.
Tay Rhymes.
Samantha is beginning to let all of the cats out of the bag. In just a few short minutes, she's implicated John Rebel, who will soon be identified as John Sanford, and Tay, whom investigators will learn is a man by the name of Octavius Rhymes. The pace of the investigation is beginning to accelerate and will continue to pick up speed as the disturbing details begin to surface.
Did they do something to let you know that it was them inside that house?
Not 1,000% particular, but I'm pretty sure it was him. The height and the weight and the way he was talking all gangster.
You pull yourself together and get to writing, and we need to arrest these folks and keep them off the street where they can't hurt you and your children.
There was a third person with him.
Okay, who do you think it was?
He's got people that's staying with him.
John Rebel?
When they were in the hospital before this happened in my house,
Yes.
Tay was with him. There was another guy, I don't know his name. But he pretty much fits the middle of the third guy.
There was 3 people?
Yes, at the house there was 3 people. And at the hospital yesterday, you can look at the cameras, there was 3 people.
So they have them on the video camera there at the hospital?
At the hospital, yes.
Okay.
There was Tay and that guy and this third party. The one that I said was
basically like the ringleader that was bossing everybody around. The other two really didn't talk much other than a word here and there. But it was the big guy, the third party that was at the hospital.
She claims not to have known the third man at the hospital, but she's prepared to shift all of the blame in his direction.
The only thing I know about the heavy-set dude is they called him JoJo, but they told me that wasn't his name. I believe they said it was Jose.
Samantha reveals quite a bit about this third person. Samantha gives a detailed story about where JoJo lives and knows that everybody calls him JoJo, despite saying just moments ago that she just met these individuals. Also, another significant item to note. Do you recall when the corporal at the scene learned of a ping on Dagan's phone from dispatch?
0.86 miles from a residence in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh?
He asked Samantha if she knew anyone in Pittsburgh, and she had no reply. Well, it turns out she did. Tay and JoJo were both residing in Pittsburgh.
Yada yada does
She
it.
heads out for a smoke break as members of the sheriff's office prepare to head to the local hospital, determined to intercept.
Damn, they gave her a smoke break for all the leaks, dude.
You know what this is about, buddy. You know exactly what it is. You know what happened over at Samantha's house last night. That's what we want to talk to you about, okay?
Frank him.
Our bear's
Everyone
dead.
be quiet.
He's dead. But now, according to Samantha, you was just a bystander. Why, JoJo beat the living crap out of him up in the room where y'all blood collecting evidence.
Anytime there are multiple suspects involved in a crime, police will want to separate them as soon as possible, so they don't have a chance to get their stories aligned. Police may often plant the seed of doubt that the others are implicating them, leaving each suspect with the decision dilemma of whether to confess or remain silent.
Okay, this all started yesterday. Like you said, yeah, we talked to her about her problem with her husband and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Never did I plot to kill the guy. I have a problem with males hitting.
And I do too.
Let's continue.
Trying to do stupid shit, this and that.
Like what?
Like, basically, like, get somebody to f*** them off. Like, not kill them, but, like, just beat the shit out of them, set them up, shit like that, right? And I told her, I said, well, damn. I said, you're talking to somebody that could do that, but I wasn't going to, though.
John now begins his account of the previous night, beginning with a quick stop at Samantha's house.
JoJo had the keys. He was passenger seat.
In front?
Yeah, passenger seat.
Who was driving?
I drove because...
Okay. Who was with you?
It was me, JoJo, and
What's he doing with his hands? Why did he stand up?
Except for,
I
I
think
do
he's
know...
describing something.
All I know is he was related to Tay.
Yeah, because I think I know who he is.
John indicates that someone related to Tay was in the back seat, and that Tay wasn't...
I feel like this is a man who's definitely has a lot of experience being handcuffed and knows that like he has to move it around a little bit to get some circulation going, or he's just Italian and has to use his hands, one or the other, or maybe both. I don't know. But I've actually never seen somebody who's handcuffed get up so casually, okay, and just like try to use his hands while describing a story as though he's not handcuffed.
Okay, let me rephrase that. I have seen them because I have been running around Pittsburgh, but unless they live on Cypress Street, I don't know who they are.
Okay, I got you. Okay, well, go ahead. Y'all all three together.
So,
you was driving, but you didn't have the keys.
Didn't have the keys, and I really didn't have a choice because I like my life.
John seems to be trying to suggest that it was actually JoJo who was directing the scheme, and now seems to be implying that JoJo threatened him into driving.
That's when all hell broke. Beat the living hell out the dude. Honestly, me personally, I do not believe Samantha really had a hand to play in it. I think that what she was saying just kind of got too far.
Okay, so what happened? Who beat the hell out of him?
JoJo and the other guy.
John is awkwardly using his hands as he talks, despite being handcuffed. People may increase their use of illustrators to make their lies sound more believable or give off the impression that their story is true. JoJo Ponce is in the hot seat. Needless to say, things aren't looking good for JoJo, who's now dressed in orange prison attire.
Jonathan is...
Wait, I don't get it. JoJo's already gone to jail? Like, what the fuck's happening here?
That's just his fit.
The Mexican guy, cuff him just in case. Arrest him before we even question him, honestly.
No.
They're like, it's probably his fault.
That's awful.
I mean, what the hell? Why is he already in a jumpsuit?
It must just be an orange shirt.
Really he's putting this whole thing off on you. And
Oh, never mind.
No, he's like, no, he is like, you thought that was just casually his garb?
I thought maybe, okay, well, the door was open. I didn't see the rest of the fit.
I do not understand why JoJo, an hour in, is already in prison. Like, what's happening? I don't,
You said something about like maybe you had a bad dope deal that went bad.
I don't even know. Matter of fact, I specifically told them when she told me who her husband was, right there in Octavius' house. Mm-hmm. When she told me his name, I told her. I don't even know who they are. I don't even know him.
JoJo said, well, what do you think
not
you can
this
do?
guy.
You think you can come up with 20 grand in 5 minutes?
John mentions that JoJo demands Dagan produce $20,000 within 5 minutes if he wants to fix things. This is almost exactly what Samantha told the police. This could be because it's true. However, if you watch Samantha's interrogation footage, it's clear that she's trying to paint the incident as drug-related.
Asking for compensation, $20,000.
And this may simply be a story that the group concocted to tell the police.
JoJo tells me, all right, stay here and watch him. Dude's out cold. I'm talking about folded up, basically like literally like this.
Oh my God, he's animated.
Outside the house, they had him up against the truck, hands still behind the back, had his face down like this.
What part of the truck?
The hood of the truck.
Okay, that makes sense. That's where, okay.
The investigator catches himself here just before he almost lets out a piece of evidence. Retaining key evidence is a way to corroborate testimony and also to tie physical evidence to one or more suspects.
And at this point is when I start thinking, damn, what the really going on? Because they put the dude in the back seat. So we go. We leave. As we're going, they tell me, I go here, whoa, I'm driving. We go all the way out to the country. Get out to the country. Next thing I know, they walk off.
What's he doing?
Go start the vehicle.
He's flexible, he's flexing.
Oh, that was so gross to
So I
watch.
start running back to the vehicle, and in my mind process, this is my neck of the woods now.
Stop!
So you know where you're at?
Sorry.
Yeah, this is my neck of the
Because
woods.
we're fixing to go out there, me and you. We're going back out there. Because everything you're saying so far is matching 100%.
Before I make the vehicle, all I hear is pop.
Who's got the gun?
JoJo does.
Note that John is named JoJo as the trigger man. As you'll see, there won't be a consensus when it comes to this brutal aspect of the crimes.
Hey, listen, man, everybody's done point the finger at you as being the one that pulled the trigger.
That's what I'm saying, dude, and I didn't.
Who pulled the trigger then?
Jonathan.
Despite claiming that John pulled the trigger, there are still at least 2 ways in which JoJo could still be criminally liable for the murder. First, under a theory of accomplice liability, if the prosecution can prove that JoJo aided or abetted or had the requisite intent for John's murder of Dagan. Second, if the prosecution can prove that JoJo had entered into an agreement with Samantha or John to carry out the murder, he could be charged with conspiracy to commit murder. The sheriff seems satisfied that he's gathered all pertinent information from John. He leads John out of the room. The next task is the somber duty of locating and recovering Dagan's body. Sheriff Tim Ingram and investigator Aaron Baxter, along with their helpful suspect, John Sanford, depart the sheriff's office as Chief Deputy John Livingston follows closely behind in Aaron's vehicle. Aaron wears a body camera to document the events that are about to transpire. Be forewarned. Things are about to take a drastic turn for the worst as members of the Titus County Sheriff's Office begin to uncover the true horrors that occurred earlier that very morning.
Well, you think old cuz went to bed after all this? You think he's home in bed? I honestly don't know. Who won't know who cuz is other than in case the crib will talk to me? Who's gonna know this guy's gonna get him quick before he tries to do anything?
Almost anybody in Pittsburgh that really...
So is that his name? Is that what everybody calls him, cuz?
The sheriff asks John who will be able to identify the mysterious third party, known to us only as Cuz. We'll soon learn his true identity.
Yeah, is there a body here?
There's a body.
Yeah. I'm hiding it. I'm hiding the screen.
No, they wouldn't show the body.
Oh,
It's
they
blurry.
don't show the body. It's blurred.
Definitely did.
Good assessment, officer.
Okay. What we need
He's
to do now...
dead.
Oh, yeah, he's dead. He's not going to be alive.
Oh.
What we need to do now is 2 of us need to break off
and take him and use a recorder, and let's go get that gun.
Sadly, Dagan's body is located at 11:28 a.m. Aaron places a call to the Camp County Sheriff
They
to
didn't even
alert him
hide
of
the body.
murder
They
within
didn't
his
even
jurisdiction.
cover him up.
Meanwhile, back at the Titus County Sheriff's Office, an anxious and fidgety Samantha has returned to the interrogation room. The clock now reads 11:45 a.m. It seems Samantha hasn't been informed that Dagan was located, deceased, approximately 17 minutes earlier. While the members of the sheriff's office are locating the potential murder weapon, Samantha occupies herself by writing on the dry erase board in the interrogation room. Just as Samantha leaves the room as the clock reads 11:58 a.m., Aaron's body camera recording resumes. The sheriff, John the suspect, and the two investigators, Aaron and John, head to the home where the gun is believed to have been stashed. Note that the woman seated on the front step of the home is Lakona Slayton. Her connection to the case will be revealed to you shortly.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hey, what? Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Won't take us but a minute. We'll be done. Hey, John. Where's that guy?
It's not that they know everything, like, seriously, it's because you told them everything. That man was the greatest witness of all time. If he sees a single moment of jail time, he really fucked up, because he was the star witness the entire time. Like, he literally cooked up the entire scheme for him. He should have gotten a fucking sweet plea deal out of that, but he was too busy twerking around and tweaking and giving him everything.
It was out here, but it's apparently not out here.
Who got it?
I don't know. Y'all arrested me.
Why ain't it out here?
I don't know. No, I swear to God, I don't know.
I got the box, and the box is
in a locked box.
So you already knew the gun was involved in it?
No, she has no
I didn't
clue.
know about
She has no clue about nothing.
Oh,
I'm
no.
telling you that now.
So
I haven't. She has no clue about nothing.
here's the deal, all right? We need the gun. You could be charged with the same thing.
She was.
I know
here.
what the.
You could be an accomplice to murder, capital murder. That's the death penalty. So if you know where the gun's at,
She knows where the gun's at.
you
She
need
got the
to
box.
you need to go ahead and tell
Cops
them.
are wild. They're just like, cops are hitting the AOE on this. Like, she's like, everyone's getting a death penalty here, ma'am. Like, what the fuck? You will die. I'll tell you what. What the fuck? It's insane. That's insane to just like, you know what? Where's your dog? Your dog's also getting death penalty. This man back here, death penalty. Do you understand me?
Told you that.
Okay, I'm gonna give you one more opportunity.
Dude, you can
Give me the
handcuff
gun.
me. I don't know.
That's probably fixing to happen. That's probably about to happen because I think you're a liar.
What the fuck? No, what the fuck?
Oh my gosh, this is awful.
Bro, he's like, yeah, arrest everybody, lock them up. Let guys sort it out. We're doing capital punishment for all of them. Dadgummit.
In box, you've got the dead gun.
Where'd the gun go then?
I don't know.
Why'd you get the box?
I don't care, man. I didn't do.
That you must be about as low life as that husband of yours.
Him husband.
Well, you with him. About the same thing.
Whatever.
The sheriff and Lakona are referring to JoJo here.
Oh yeah, you remember enough to come home and get that box, that gun in it, don't you?
No, I remember to come home and check the box.
But why?
So the
Why
gun's
would you
not in the
just
tent?
check it?
I don't know. Go check the tent. I don't know.
Is it okay if I check the
Yes,
tent?
it is okay.
Okay. And where's it at?
Johnny,
Right behind the house.
Okay.
This other cop, they're doing the good cop, dadgummit cop. That's what they're doing. It's very effective.
Dramatically heated exchange with Lakona, the sheriff and Aaron head to the tent, which currently serves as Lakona's home, to attempt to locate the gun. A search in this case does not require a warrant. When someone with a controlling interest gives permission to search a premises, including a tent, it's an exception to the warrant requirement. Back at the sheriff's office, Samantha is again writing on the dry erase board. As a couple of written questions are directed at the sheriff's office, she continues to put on a show. These behaviors are once again very childlike and immature.
She's
Oftentimes,
weird.
individuals with personality disorders will display immature behaviors.
There you go, right there. I bet you. See the dope or the gun. Gun. Well,
Computer had his gun.
Bitchy.
Why the hell would I tell you to go look in the tent?
it wasn't in the tent.
Well, I don't know where the...
All we want is the truth.
Man, I'm telling you, all I know is the guy told me that they were suspects in a murder case. The first thing that popped in my head was that gun. It was not in the box where it was always at, and I don't know what the is going on, but I want to know.
Okay, well, just like the other officer told you, we're investigating a murder. All right? There was a guy killed last night. He was executed. He wasn't supposed to have it, was he?
No.
Convicted felon or?
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, that guy's got a family, and they're going to want to know what happened to their son and father. I mean, the guy's got kids, young kids, and so we're just trying to gather the facts up and get justice for this guy's family.
What I need to do, I've got Samantha's version.
Samantha is the ringleader. I never met her until yesterday.
So you just up there with Charlotte and them, that's when you met.
That's when yes sir, I met Samantha. And I met her 5 kids.
Oh, wow.
We all left. We get to Walmart. We're at Walmart for a little bit. All of a sudden, Octavius Rhymes walks up to me. He said, man, I gotta go. I said, why? He's like, my mom just called me and cussing me out, telling me I better get the damn car home. So I let me go find Jonathan real quick. Let me ask Jonathan if he can give us, me and my wife, right home, back to your house. When Jonathan took me home that afternoon, though, Octavius was home. Octavius ended up leaving with Jonathan. They left together. Me and my wife stayed home. All of a sudden, around after 7 or 8 at last night, they showed back up. This time, they showed up with Octavius, Jonathan, Samantha, and her kids. Jonathan pulls me to the side. Say, cuz, I need to talk to you. I'm like, what's up? He's like, look, Ogre, talking about Samantha. He said, Samantha wants us to, do something. And he wouldn't tell me full detail.
Why do none of these peeps have a lawyer? Brother, they're meth heads. Like, what do you mean? You've seen the conditions that they live in. I don't think they're thinking about any of this. Like, it's just, they don't even think that they have rights in this situation. Like, they're not even expected. They're poor.
Until we went to the place, all of a sudden, he tells me, he said, look, I just need you to stand guard.
Jojo describes what is called a criminal conspiracy between himself and John to commit the crime of kidnapping. Another important revelation is Jojo's claim that Tay was a willing participant in the conspiracy, despite Samantha's and John's initial reluctance to implicate him. It turns out that old Cuz was actually Tay all along. Let's hear it straight from the source. Meet Octavius Tay Rhymes, whose identity Samantha and John attempted to conceal initially. Tay had requested a meeting with the Titus County Sheriff's Office with the intention of getting a deal in the works. However, Tay was informed that he'd need his lawyer to handle the negotiating with the DA's office. While seated with investigator Wayne Miner, Tay went ahead and pleaded his case.
I could have spoke to y'all without a lawyer, but I admitted to y'all, that I was in the vicinity when they took the dude from his home. I didn't realize that they were planning on doing. So like I said, I know y'all ran my criminal background history already. I don't have no violent background. I don't have no felonies, but misdemeanors. No, I've never been in no serious trouble like this ever. So I'm trying to work with y'all, but I can't really give y'all no more information if no thing.
Okay. I don't understand why or how the timeline works on when these guys are getting questioned, but I too have noticed that the only 2 people that are like immediately in jail here and in the orange jumpsuits are the black guy and the Mexican guy. What's up with that? No, I don't know. I'm not making any assumptions here. I am simply asking, what the fuck is going on there? Like, why? Like, what happened? Because there's a process when you can't just like for someone to go from plain clothes to like orange jumpsuit. There's literally a process that took place. I am very confused how they just like escalated that or how they fast tracked that entire process for these 2 guys. I'm sure they'll describe it.
A major development in the case occurs just 3 days after the murder of Dagan, though it would be a stretch to say it came as a shock. Samantha is arrested and charged with aggravated kidnapping and murder. In the end, the failed conspiracy resulted in lengthy prison terms for all involved. John and Jojo pleaded guilty the following year, in April of 2016. They received 50-year sentences for their roles in Dagan's kidnapping and murder.
John got
in December of 2016, Tay went on trial. It didn't go as he'd hoped, however. He was found guilty of murder and aggravated kidnapping and was sentenced to a total of 93 years. Last but not least came the mastermind behind the whole terribly designed plot.
God damn.
Samantha went on trial for Dagan.
Bro, John got 50 years and he spilled the beans the whole damn time. That's crazy. Oh, because the other two got a plea deal and he didn't take the plea and he went to trial, so we got 93. Dude, our criminal justice system is so fucking insane.
Dagan's murder in September of 2017. Not surprisingly, she was found guilty. She was sentenced to 99 years. In addition, she received another 50 years for the kidnapping to be served consecutively with her murder sentence.
Like, why not just make it 100 years?
It is still unknown who pulled the trigger and killed Dagan.
That's crazy.